Shabbat Shalom. According to Jewish lore, King Solomon was blessed with a servant, Benaiah, who could seemingly do no wrong. He performed every task to perfection, to such an extent that King Solomon worried his other servants would begin to get jealous. And so, in order that they would see that Benaiah was not infallible, he decided to send him on a task he was sure to fail, an impossible task. By the end of this week, the king said to Benaiah, "Please find for me an object that will make me sad when I am happy, and happy when I am sad." And so he sent his servant off, happy in the knowledge that the other servants would finally see that Benaiah wasn't always perfect. Of course, King Solomon was sure no such object even existed. And indeed, Benaiah was at a loss. What could possibly make one sad when they are happy, and happy when they were sad? He searched Jerusalem, he ventured throughout the countryside. There was simply nothing he could find. He made his return to the palace dejected, resigned to the fact that he had failed his king. On his way back, he stopped at one final jewelry shop and asked the shopkeeper, "Is there any chance you might have something that could make one sad when they are happy, and happy when they are sad?" To Benaiah's surprise, the shopkeeper exclaimed, "I might have just the item." Just such an item. And he brought out a small box containing a plain gold ring. Benaiah was very skeptical that this could truly be the object that King Solomon sought, and yet it was all he had found. As Solomon saw Benaiah approaching, he made sure all his servants were around, glad that they would finally see, that Benaiah didn't always succeed. Yet upon receiving the small box from his servant and opening it to find the gold ring, he picked it up to examine, and his smile faded. As he looked at it again, however, his smile returned as he realized that against all odds, Benaiah had indeed found something that could make him sad when he was happy, and happy when he was sad. You see, inscribed on the ring in Hebrew were three small words, Gam ze ya'avor. This too shall pass. With these words, King Solomon was reminded that the elation he had been feeling only moments earlier as Benaiah approached was only fleeting. Gam ze ya'avor, and it saddened him. Looking at the ring again, however, he was reminded that even sadness and despair is not forever, and his gladness returned. He was put at ease. Gam ze ya'avor, this too shall pass. It's a comforting concept when we face the worst, but in the midst of despair, it can be hard to fathom that better times lie ahead. Today, for instance, we hope beyond all hope that Gam ze ya'avor, that the current circumstances of Israel and the Jewish people will pass, that we will defeat Hamas, release all those held hostage, break the yoke of anti-Semitism, live together with our neighbors in peace. But when? What will it take? And sadly, the heinous attack by Hamas on our brothers and sisters in Israel and the frightening rise of anti-Semitism are just the most recent in a long line of tragedies to have befallen our people. As I mentioned earlier, we are currently in the midst of the saddest week in the Jewish year, leading up to Tisha B'Av this coming Monday night. The Mishnah in Masechet Ta'anit relates that on the 9th of Av, it was decreed upon our ancestors that they would all die in the wilderness and not enter the land of Israel. That the temple in Jerusalem was destroyed the first time and the second time. That Beitar was captured, ending the Bar Kokhba revolt, and the city of Jerusalem was decimated. And the tragedies to befall our people on the 9th of Av did not end there. Tisha B'Av marked the start of the First Crusade in 1095, which led to the slaughter of thousands of our ancestors. It was on this date that Jews were expelled from England in the year 1290, from Spain in 1492, the day World War I was declared in 1914, and the final solution decreed by the Nazis in 1941. Beyond the events that occurred directly on this date, Tisha B'Av has served as a reminder of all that has tormented our people. As Rabbi Jonathan Sachs wrote, it is characteristic of the rabbinic sense of time to combine the recollection of many events into a single day. Thus, Tisha B'Av is the time when we recall the many tragedies of Jewish history. With all of these tragedies our people have endured, how can we possibly believe Gam ze ya'avor, that this too shall pass? How can we possibly have hope that something better is yet to come? And yet I'm reminded of a story shared by Rabbi Hugo Green, a prominent British rabbi, that as a young boy, his family was sent to Auschwitz. One midwinter evening, they were reminded that it was the first night of Hanukkah, and so his father constructed a little menorah out of scrap metal. For oil, he used a stick of butter that he had somehow obtained from a guard. Now, beyond the obvious risk of crafting a menorah in this place, Hugo protested to his father at the waste of precious food. Would it not be better to share the butter on a crust of bread than burn it? His father responded, Hugo, both you and I know that a person can live for a time without food, but a person cannot live a single day without hope. This Shabbat, 80 years since Rabbi Green's father shared these powerful words, our own Rabbi Jacobs and Cantor Rosenbaum are in Germany, together with 25 of our congregation's young professionals. In the same place which perpetrated the Holocaust, we can say, thank God, Gam ze ya'avor, things have changed. While Germany is not without its challenges, today our young professionals are exploring the country's reckoning with its past, its efforts to deal with the memory of the Shoah and Nazi terror. And believe it or not, they have the opportunity to see and experience the re-emergence of Jewish life, the growth of the modern German Jewish community, and we look forward to hearing about their experiences upon their return. Gam ze ya'avor. Even in our most trying moments, let us remember there is hope, for things do change. This past week, windsurfer Tom Reuveni reminded us of that hope, winning the first gold medal for Israel at the 2024 Olympic Games. You brought us a great light, Israel's President Isaac Herzog shared afterwards. You raised our flag the highest, and our anthem was played, Hatikva, hope, for the first time in these Olympics. Even this week of Tisha B'Av, the saddest time on our calendar, is not without hope. The Hasidic master, Reb Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, taught that on this Shabbat, the Shabbat before Tisha B'Av, amidst the sadness over the destruction of our temples, every Jewish soul is shown a vision of the third temple, the temple that will one day be built. Even when all seems lost, the seeds of hope, the seeds of change are being sown. Indeed, our tradition teaches that the Messiah, the Redeemer of the entire world, will be born on Tisha B'Av, and our saddest day will transform into one of great joy. Gam ze ya'avor. May the troubling times we live in pass, and may we one day merit to see the day when the tragedies of our past and our present give way to more joyous days ahead. Amen.